Speedy, you're a big Giant fan, and I know going into this season, you did not believe the New York Giants in their first 5 games would be 4-1. You did not think they were going to be Tennessee. I know you didn't think they were going to be Green Bay. The one loss they had was against the Cowboys, and they had a chance to win that game in the fourth quarter. The Giants could very well be 5-0 and really one of the only 5-0 teams in the NFL. It has been a miraculous season so far for Daboll. I think he's the coach of the year. If the season were to end today, all the injuries they've had, they don't really have a lot of talent on that offensive line. Defense is on and off. Their secondary is horrible. And their quarterback's playing well, but he's no Aaron Rodgers. So there's nothing on this team besides Saquon Barkley that sparks a conversation. Why are they 4-1?
They only have really 2 things that are considered anywhere close to maybe tops at their position, and that's Saquon Barkley and Andrew Thomas, talent-wise. I'll put Dexter Lawrence there, too. Everything else is really makeshifted, and Brian Daboll's done a great job with his scheme and not giving up on his scheme despite all the injuries to make that kind of thing work. The Giants' red zone percentage last year was horrible, and this year one of the best in the league. I think they're number 4 overall because of the way Daboll's scheme has worked. These aren't the biggest names scoring touchdowns.
I like their tight end that they brought in.
Yeah. Daniel Bellinger's, fourth-round pick, who's played very well so far. They've made these makeshift tight ends work in the red zone to catch touchdowns. And these other receivers, David Sills, that was a good college player, actually was FBS leader in touchdowns when he played at West Virginia, but very undersized to the NFL. They're making him work in the seam. Richie James, who was a good kick returner, gadget player for the 49ers. These aren't the biggest names, but Brian Daboll's made them work in this kind of role, and the Giants have been a gritty team and a gritty offense because of that. Daniel Jones, he's done a much better job at not committing turnovers. His turnover rate each week has gone down, which is a good sign for him.
He did the same thing for Josh Allen.
Yep.
And I believe this is going to transition Daniel Jones' career. I believe Daniel Jones, if he continues doing what he is doing right now, they're going to give him his 5th-year extension. I believe Daniel Jones is going to prove to the Giant fans that he is the future to this organization.
And the volume might come with Daniel Jones once he gets some of those other receivers back. They might get Wan'Dale Robinson back this week. He practiced each of the last 2 days. Which Saquon Barkley, he'll probably play, but again, he's still kind of hurt right now at the end of that fourth quarter against the Packers. So those are the guys that you would hope to help elevate Daniel Jones' receiving weapons. I don't trust Kenny Golladay whatsoever, even if he does play. That's the only way Daniel Jones will ever get the volume to be anywhere close to what Josh Allen emerged into, but I want to see progression when it comes to him sensing pressure, which he's done better at, not turnover prone, less than a turnover per game now finally in his career, which is a good sign for him, and it's improved each game. His mobility, Daboll's getting the best out of that too, rollout plays, and great in the fourth quarter too. The Giants have been one of the better fourth quarter teams in the league. The Giants beating the Titans the way they did, Panthers and Packers, all 3 of those wins were comebacks.
The most exciting thing, if you're a Giant fan, is what they did in the fourth quarter against a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, where everybody thought going into the second half of that game, they were down 20-10. And everybody thought Aaron Rodgers was going to get the ball and he was going to pull away in this game. They were going to win 37-20 or something like that. And it just didn't happen. They completely shut down Aaron Rodgers in that offense in the second half of the game. They outscored and outplayed Aaron Rodgers in the second half of that game. Yes, it was in London. It wasn't in Lambeau Field. We all know it doesn't matter. This is not the same Green Bay Packer team when they were last year with Devontae Adams. It's not the same team. Their defense, and they have a lot of injuries on their defense. Their secondary is playing hurt, and that has definitely affected them. But nevertheless, I was just so impressed on the belief what this team does, when they're in trouble. You watch that fourth quarter. There were so many parts in that game that you just thought Aaron Rodgers was going to get that touchdown and pull away from them. I'm not a big Wink Martindale fan. A lot of people aren't because he's blitz savvy. He is the Rex Ryan of this era. He's Rob Ryan and Rex Ryan put together. But it works. They're putting pressure. Their defense is not amongst the best in the league. They don't have that much talent. They don't have the talent the Jets have on the defensive line. But they use so many different blitz packages that make them look better than some of these great defenses in the NFL.
And that was before even the youngsters came back, too. Jihad Ward and O'Shane Zimenez, all these random pass rushers really got it going in that scheme.
It's fun to watch. They're fast. Thibodeaux looks like he's going to be a player. Mm-hmm. Every single game that he plays, he looks like he's getting faster and better. He had one of those big blocks at the end of the game that kept Aaron Rodgers out of the end zone, which would have given them the lead and probably would have won them the game. They had 2 important blocks the last 2 plays of the game, which cost Aaron Rodgers coming back and winning that game. So I've just been so impressed with Daboll. And even after the game, when they won that game, how excited he was. It was like he won a Super Bowl. That's something you want to see from a coach. I love what Robert Saleh does, but Robert Saleh, as much as I love him, he does it in a way where, I'm not saying it's an ego trip, but it doesn't show authenticity. When I watch Daboll do it, and after the game, and even when he talks to the press, he's just authentic. It's just, there's something about him. And I am a Jet fan, okay? So I'm not trying to blow up Daboll and throw my coach under the bus. I'm not saying I don't like Robert Saleh. I just think there's something authentic about this guy and Daboll. I think that the players believe in him. I think everybody's starting to believe in this guy. And I believe he's going to get this team on a winning straight edge. I think they're going to find a way to win. And maybe it's not going to be this year. They're not winning no Super Bowl this year. I will be very surprised if they squeak into the playoffs. In 2 or 3 years, when he stamps his name on this roster, this team is going to be completely different. And I believe that this is the guy. This is the guy you want. Over the last couple of years, all those debacle of coaches you brought in, he is the closest thing in believing like you believed in Tom Coughlin. I really like this guy. This is the guy I wanted the Jets to bring in before Robert Saleh. They couldn't interview Daboll because Daboll was still in the playoffs and the Jets didn't want to wait for him when Adam Gase got fired. I'm not saying I'm upset that they have Robert Saleh. If you're a Jet fan right now, who would you rather right now? Daboll or Robert Saleh? I've watched the Giants play in all 5 of these games, and they have nothing. Daboll's had a better season with what he has been working with, the talent that he has, than Robert Saleh has with all the talent he has.
It's actually fascinating you brought up the coaching getting hired later. It's actually kind of an interesting trend. Now, I don't like the way it's set up anyway. I think all the coaches should have to wait until after the playoffs anyway, but now he might be on the hot seat this year because they're struggling. But Frank Reich, when he first got hired, remember the whole Josh McDaniels debacle?
Yep.
And first year, with a really, like the Giants this year, really bad team, got them into the playoffs. You look at Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. He was the last coach hired, too. They made the playoffs in 2020. And now this year, you look at Brian Daboll and Minnesota's coach O'Connell. The last 2 were hired, and they're both off to hot starts with their teams.
So what stood out to you in week number 5, Speedy?
I think the biggest one for me was the Cowboys and the Rams, because this is the week I was thinking, okay, maybe the Cowboys come back down to earth and the Rams, an experienced team, a well-coached team, finally gets their way. Nope, the Dallas defense still had their will. They let Cooper Kupp play. He did his thing, but stopped everybody else, and that pass rush was still lethal, and they look like the real deal now. And offensively, they were pretty well-rounded too, and the Rams' offensive line, which usually they've been able to make shift very well in previous years, replacing guys. It looks like a big concern right now. So, while I think the Rams will still be a playoff team, they're looking more like the 2020 Rams than the Super Bowl champs.
I think it's San Francisco. Knocking off Carolina. And listen, Carolina fired Rule, and we all thought Rule was going to get fired. I was very surprised they did it as fast as they did early in the season. They're giving Wilkes an opportunity to coach this team, and maybe he gets this team just on a winning streak. If he can find a way to get this team in a winning streak, maybe they decide to keep him and give him his shot, something Arizona didn't. San Francisco, this team is the real deal. And with Jimmy Garoppolo behind, I don't think Jimmy is an elite quarterback, but Jimmy knows how to win. And Jimmy has played in a Super Bowl. He's played in an NFC title game. He knows what it takes to win. Has he won? No, but he knows what it takes to win. And I think that this team, with the talent that they have, and they have a lot of injuries right now, but when this running game starts to pick up and some of these running backs come back, this is going to be a very explosive team. Wonderful wide receiver. They have a wonderful tight end. Their defense is among the league's best, if not the best defense in football. I'm not a Kyle Shanahan fan, but I just think that this team is just so very good up and down that lineup. And I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. I really do. I say the Eagles are the best, and they're the second best. And I think they're the most dangerous. If I were the Eagles right now, and a team I don't want to play in the playoffs, I do not want to play the San Francisco 49ers. I'll play the Rams. I'll play Tampa. I could beat all those teams.
Oh, yeah. I think they'll beat Tampa easily. Tampa does not look good right now.
I don't know if they could beat San Francisco with that pass rush. Their secondary is really good, too. They have a bunch of young players that have played very well this year in their secondary.
New best name in the NFL, Hufanga at safety.
It's crazy. I think that this San Francisco 49ers team is for real, and they could absolutely go all the way this year and finally maybe win a Super Bowl. And Jimmy Garoppolo might get another extension. All right, Speedy, our three-for-all picks of the week.
All right, so the first appearance of the New York Giants in the three-for-all picks of the week. They are playing against the Baltimore Ravens, traveling back from London. They are at home. The over-under for this game is 45. So I am a Giants fan, but not optimistic with this matchup this week. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I think it'll be a lower-scoring game. I do think the Giants' defense, with the way they outside blitz packages work, will be able to contain Lamar Jackson rushing. I don't think he has one of those big MVP-caliber games we saw in the first 4 weeks of the season. I do think, though, that they can stretch the field in the slot areas. They've been still a little weak there. You saw them do that against the Jets. You saw them do that against the Bills in certain games in that one. And the Ravens' run defense, I think, will be very tough on the interior and against Saquon Barkley, who's not playing 100% as it is. So I think the Ravens do win this one. I'm going to take the Ravens on the under.
Yeah, I have the Baltimore Ravens in this game. Everything that I believe in Lamar Jackson, I think Lamar Jackson has a breakout game against this Giants defense because he knows Wink Martindale. He knows the way this defense is going to play and how they're going to play him. And John Harbaugh knows Wink Martindale as he's been on his coaching staff for a very long time. I like Baltimore on the under in this game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think both defenses will show up. I think it'll become more of a running game with Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins. But I believe one way or another that Mark Andrews and this Baltimore Ravens team will come out a winner. Give me the Ravens on the under.
All right, shifting to the other NFC East matchup, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles, Sunday Night Football. The over-under 42 for this game. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm going to take them actually semi-blowout in this one because of the way their defensive front is. I think their secondary with Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will be a good job of doubling up CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup looked good in spots last week, but again, I'm still trusting him to get back from injury against the rest of that secondary. Could be very hard. Zeke's had his moments against the Eagles, but he's definitely not the same running back that he was either. And then Jalen Hurts against that Dallas defense, which is more of a base defense. It's a good matchup running-wise as well. So I like the Eagles in this one. I'll take him on the under.
I think this is going to be a really fun game. It's going to be a battle of two very good defenses. They're both very fun to watch, but I like the Eagles in this game. I think they're the better team. I think Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. Well, I know he's the better quarterback. Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, I still think Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. And I think they're the better team. I think A.J. Brown, Smith, I think they have the better running game. I think they're going to be able to run against this Cowboys team. And the Cowboys, Micah Parsons is 100% healthy with the hamstring problems. Is he going to play? If he's going to play all the snaps, I like the Eagles in this game on the under.
All right, last one, the game of the week. The Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. The over-under for this one, 54. Well, this one's going to be close. I think both these defenses have played a lot better than expected. Bills without Tre'Davious White, without Jordan Poyer this year, and Micah Hyde, who's out for the season now. And the Chiefs' defense with all the rookies that they have, a lot of good secondary pieces. George Karlaftis has played very well. So I don't think you're going to get that high-flying shootout in this game, but it still will be close. I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're at home, very close. And I just think they're a little more of a complete offense, even without Tyreek Hill there. Their running game is still more trustworthy than the Bills. So I think the Chiefs win a close one. I'll take them on the under.
I love the Buffalo Bills in this game. Absolutely love the Buffalo Bills on this game. I don't know how they're going to stop Josh Allen in the open field. They have no secondary help over there. The Honey Badgers now playing for the Saints. Their secondary is very, very weak. And yes, the Buffalo Bills are going to be one-dimensional. They're not a running team, but I still think Josh Allen will be able to run in the open field. They'll be able to use him in a lot of trick plays. And I really think that the Buffalo Bills are just a very explosive team. And I don't know how Kansas City is going to stop them in the open field. I'm going to take Buffalo on the over in this game. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our three-for-all picks of the week. I like Buffalo in this game. Something about Josh Allen that just keeps ticking in his head. And I think the fact that Patrick Mahomes won that game in the playoffs last year, that pissed Josh Allen off and Diggs off and Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis had that 4-touchdown game. This is going to be a high-flying game. I do believe Kansas City will put up points, even against this defense, because I'm not sold with the secondary right now of the Buffalo Bills. I just think the Buffalo Bills are just so much better offensively. They have so much more talent than the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. And Juju is not the guy.
Nobody is. It's a new receiver every week.